Hi everyone, welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, as it all contributes to our mission of expanding this community. So please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts below. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Today's video includes a compilation of several of the many important questions Alex Collier has received over the past few years, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Can you tell us about the worlds that managed to overthrow the Reptilians? The planets that overthrew the Reptilians? Did you get that?
I got that question. That was good. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have specific information about that. The only specific information I have about, in particular, one race was the Procyon that were able to overcome the complete control of the Greys, which in our linear time was for 600 years that they had control and domination over the Procyons. And essentially what they had to do, because they couldn't get signal out. Okay, they had the fence. They couldn't get a signal out, or they didn't know because their civilization was shut down so quickly that essentially what they had to do was create an entirely underground culture using the females of their race predominantly underground to become not only psychics but clairvoyants, but sages, seers. They had to create this entire underground subculture that was so spiritually powerful that when the time was right and they had the right amount of numbers, that they would allow themselves to be known and they would broadcast a call for help that would pierce the veil or the fence that was surrounding the planet, which is in fact what they did. And it was the feminine of their race that did this because of their emotional passion. Emotion is an incredible tool. It can never be underestimated. Okay? I understand that many of the men came up with the idea, but it was only the women who could pull this off because of their extremes of emotions, which are much broader than a man. Okay? They somehow were able to call for help, and help came almost immediately. I don't know every single detail about that. And there is more, in fact, information about that in my notes, which I don't have. But that's all I can remember at the moment. They were able to get help. They were able to break free of the matrix And, this is what, the Greys did this. I mean, they would go to a planet and they would harvest it, and they would take what they wanted. And when they were done taking it, or there was nothing left that they wanted, they would move on, but, we all know the Greys hang out with the Reptilians. Now, were there actually Draconians and an Orion group there with the Greys on this planet? I do not know. I don't have that information. But it was predominantly the Greys. That much I do know. The regressive Greys. Okay? That's what I know.
So is something like that happening on Earth as well, Alex? Is that happening on Earth?
If that's what has unfolded, I don't know if it was exactly the same way. We do know that we got help from outside. But if that's what's unfolding here, or has unfolded here, I'm so close to it that I don't see it or didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes they say, when you're in the thick of it, you can't see the forest from the trees. Yeah. It's possible that's exactly what happened here. I don't know, but I'm not aware of an entire underground culture of spiritual beings, unless it's the walk-ins, it's the NDEs that have returned with this special with this advanced DNA or ramped up DNA, or if it's in fact boots on the ground that were here helping together this entire group. I suppose maybe it's possible. I would think maybe that it is possible, but I do not know for a fact if it's unfolded here the same way it did there. I haven't been read into it.
Why do you think the Andromedans chose you to spread their message?
Okay.
Why did the Andromedans choose you to spread their message?
Well, I'm one of 4. I don't know where the other 3 are. Well, I know where they are, but obviously they haven't done anything. My understanding is that the last time they had a physical presence on the Earth, where my DNA lineage or past life is directly connected to the constellation of Andromeda, we would have been the first choices to interact with, to choose. You see, whenever there is ET intervention, there are specific guidelines where you can only intervene with those of your specific DNA or DNA lineage. You are not supposed to directly intervene or harm or manipulate other beings that do not share your DNA lineage. Now, of course, the bad guys, they don't pay any attention to that, okay, which is why they're bad guys. The benevolence, what they will do is they will contact those connected to them energetically and genetically first. That would be their interaction, and that is their reason for intervening. Now, if there were no A's here, no A souls whatsoever on Earth, or any DNA linkage to the Andromedan system, they would have no business intervening whatsoever in any way unless they were specifically asked by a majority of the population of the planet. Well, the majority of the population of the planet has no clue. They would have had no clue. Okay? Who to ask for help with. So that's pretty much it. The Plejarians, the Pleiadians, it is the exact same thing. They're basically really good guys. Okay? And they would interact with their own lineage first. And if there were no Pleiadian or Plagiaran lineages here, they would not be able to intervene, again, unless specifically asked by the population. The population wouldn't ask them because they probably wouldn't know anything about them. That's how this works. So, having said that, if I had to do this over again, I wouldn't do it. I've made that no secret. And there are days I don't want to do another webinar. There are just days I don't want to do it. You know, I feel like I didn't sign up for this. I'm not interested in being a celebrity ET contact, as I've been labeled. I'm not interested in any of that crap. I'm really not. You know, I feel like I did the work. I've given more than enough of myself, and I don't know how much further this is going to go. I just don't know how much longer I'm going to want to do this. So there's your answer. It's probably not the answer you wanted, but there it is. Okay. So, you know, listen, it's important to continue to focus on what it is that you want. You know, from the earlier things that we've talked about, and I'm sure some of you have researched that, you are incredibly powerful beings. You know, it used to be that science only believed that a black hole would be the only thing strong enough to bend light. Now we know for a fact that intention, which creates DNA, can also bend light. Now that intention comes from you. It is your desires to be physical, okay, or to create physicality. And it is that desire, that wish, that intention that bends light, which then draws all the materials, atoms, and all the things that you need in order to form and manifest physicality. You know, don't ever say you're powerless. Don't ever say you're helpless, because that's rubbish. It absolutely is rubbish.
Alex.
And, you know, so on those days when you're down and things aren't going your way, remember, find something to be grateful for, okay? There has to be something. It could be your cat, your kittens, the neighbor's kid, he's mowing your lawn. You know, it could be anything. Just find something to be grateful for. And, you know, and then take that feeling and expand it into your day, to be happy, to be joyful, to have gratitude. You know, it's a little thing, but it means a lot, because what it does is it builds a force of energy around you that's positive, that's light. And the more positive light and energy you have around you, the stronger you are to manifest what it is that you want, as long as you're clear about what it is that you want. You know, this stuff really works. And it's one of the best kept secrets on this planet. No shit. You know, the elite, the cabal, they know all about this stuff. Except it's interesting, they won't do it themselves. What the cabal does, what the dark side does, is they call in other dark forces to do their will. Okay, so it's a power trip. It's not a creation trip, it's a power trip. They call in other forces to do this work for them. And then, of course, once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't necessarily control the genie, okay? They're not actually creating this scenario themselves. And I have no idea why they've chosen that path, unless it's simply because, you know, they call in these these dark forces, and then they have control over them, and that's the trip. That's their trip right there, is to control these dark forces, as opposed to creating love and light themselves. I mean, they say that we all have had, benevolent and malevolent lives. Well, my malevolent lives haven't gone to that level because I simply cannot wrap my head around that. I just simply cannot wrap my head around wanting to call forth a darkness that's just evil. I just can't figure that out. And I may not ever, and maybe I'm simply not meant to, which is cool. I'm not interested in going that way. So, there's that. There's a lot of people who are dreaming, who are traveling in their dreams. They're having incredible technicolor dreams where they're with other people. It could be other worlds, other dimensions on spacecraft. And most of them are incredibly positive experiences from the emails that I get, which is good. They're all very different. So it's not like there's just this template, for everybody. They absolutely appear, from what I can read into them, in the energy and the intensity of the language that's being used. These are each individual experiences designed to awaken and empower you in your sleep state. And that's awesome. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, It really doesn't.
Continually finding a grey area where the Annunaki and Reptilians seem to meet. Can Alex please clarify whether or not the Annunaki and the Reptilians are one and the same? What's it all about?
Okay, well, the Anunnaki some of the Anunnaki, specifically the older family bloodlines, have a great deal of reptilian in them. And in fact, some of their physical form, whether human or not, they have scales, reptilian scales on their bodies. Now, if you're referring to the Draconians, most races have a very difficult time with them, regardless. The reptilians, the Draconian reptilians, they're a different breed altogether. So they're dealt with in a different way. So I'm sure that there is some gray area where they cohabitate to a degree, but you would never actually ever, from what I understand, you would never actually ever see them on the same side, because neither would ever trust each other fully. They would never fully trust each other because of their long, long history of conflict, in space. So, having a discussion is sharing knowledge. Having an argument is sharing one's ignorance. And I believe it was Aristotle who said that. That seems to be apropos for the conflict between some of the ET groups and the regressive groups. They no longer have discussions. They usually just turn into arguments. So what happens is they don't talk to each other at all. And that's what's happened here in third density an awful lot. There have been no conversations.
What can we do besides having a near-death experience to activate our DNA in a hurry? Elaine is also how are DNA strands identified? Is there some kind of device that is like a microscope?
They don't mention that in the article, but I will post all that. I will put all this together and the sources, and as soon as I get my computer back, and I will respond to people's emails about this. But it doesn't actually say. In fact, it's interesting. They acknowledge that this is real and that they're doing this work, but at the same time, they're not wanting to come forward just yet and give all their names and including the people who they're studying, which makes sense because maybe there's a danger to these people if they were known. I don't know. Now, as far as a near-death experience, not interested in having one of those again. You know, I don't know. I don't know. As you know, our solar system is moving into a very interesting portion of our galaxy in a very large plasma cloud. Now, plasma is pure energy. It's positive energy. I'm wondering if, as we get deeper, that, and you know, at the North and South Pole, they're already seeing all these blue plasma clouds. They're building. So more and more plasma is filling the atmosphere, surrounding the atmosphere of the planet. So I'm just wondering if at some point it reaches critical mass and our DNA just turns on and it goes, and suddenly over a period of time, a short period of time, our strands either grow or those switches turn on and then cause DNA to grow and things just lock up. Everything just gets turned on and our DNA just expands in a very, very short amount of time. Because if you look at someone who had a near-death experience, they were 2 strands when they died. When they came back, in the case of this one gentleman, he's now 6 strands. That's like that, okay? And these other 50 people, apparently, who are being studied in Australia specifically, that I'm aware of, when they died, they had 2 strands. When they came back, they had 3. Some of them had 4. And it's like that. So we know that the body can replicate or grow DNA just like that. So the memory is already in the body, all right? The memory that we had more strands than we do now is already there. It's just a question of something turning on and it lining up and boom, it physically manifests attached to our DNA strand. So that's just a guesstimate. I don't have any more information other than that as to how it could possibly happen, at least on a global scale. But, you know, there is evidence there that this does happen. So we'll see. You know, maybe they go off and when they come back, they're so full of light. When they come back into the body just, in order to compensate for the light, it switches on. These switches turn back on and it grows more DNA to hold the light in the physical body. I mean, that makes sense to me. And from what I understand, it's also, it hasn't made sense to the scientists because, you know, they study physical sciences, but this is a metaphysical, spiritual component that a physical scientist would have a hard time wrapping his head around. And the further he goes down that rabbit hole, the more he's going to realize that there is more of a spiritual component to all that is than there is the physical component. There's no way to ignore that reality. And I think and this is why a lot of these scientists are, they're finding God, because they're realizing this. They're seeing it firsthand in everyday normal people. So, to answer your question, that's the only way I could do it.
Can you tell us anything about other intelligent life, non-human, living within our solar system? Mars, maybe?
There's an enormous amount of non-human life living in our solar system. The oceans of Uranus. There is life forms on Neptune that have absolutely nothing to do with us, that are helium-based. You have life forms on Titan that are methane-based. Okay, there is absolutely no single type of environment anywhere in this galaxy or another where there isn't one type of life form or another that can exist there. You see, that's the purpose for creating physicality, is the idea of experimenting with life in physicality. So no one creates a moon or anything with the idea of it just, well, it looks so pretty. Let's just put it over there. It's dead, but it looks pretty. It's a pretty dead. Nobody does that, okay? There's always a reason and an intention. For example, let's just take our moon. Okay, well, it's pretty. We've been told it's been dead, okay? But it isn't. We know it isn't. And it's it has a purpose of manipulating the tidal waves of the planet, and also changing the mood of the human beings on it. Well, you could just push that out a little bit further, and it would have no relative reason to even be here. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. You would have absolutely no relative reason to be here, for it to be here, but it is. And no one creates something just for the sake of it. All life, all physical creations have a purpose, a reason to be here. Even in the planets or the star systems that the A's have gone through, where there were very advanced civilizations that no longer exist because they forgot their original intention. And this is something that they shared with me, very early in my contacts. There was still life forms there, life forms that came out of next to nothing in order to fill the void, to fill the space. Okay? If you have physical space, it will be filled by life, one way or the other.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. If you'd like to support the channel even more, you can give us a super thanks tip by clicking the heart icon with a $sign. It really helps our team bring you more content. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, Stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.